Hello, Tessa. Nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you too. I love your shirt and all your Funko Pops. Those are my
Thank
favorite
you.
of all of the dolls. Like I grew up playing Legos with my sister, so I loved when
Yes,
they made the Valkyrie Lego. And I just noticed, I don't know, this time around it's so cool. She has two different faces. So one face is mean and angry, and one
yes.
face is nice. You can turn it around. But of all of the toys, the Funko Pops is my favorite.
Thank you. Tessa, I want to ask you, there was a perplexity idea about your character because in an interview you said that you were the king of Asgard.
Yes.
Would you like to go deep in details?
Yes. Well, okay. So the reason that I'm the king of Asgard is because, at the end events of Endgame, Thor really should have been king to take over for his father when Odin passes. But he decided that he didn't want to do it, that he wasn't ready to be king, and he felt like his friend Valkyrie would be a better king than he was. So when she took his title, she just kept it king. It's like if you were to sing a song in karaoke and the word was for a man or a woman, and you just don't change the lyric because the song stays the same. So it was kind of the same for me. And it wasn't an intentional, it isn't a political statement of any kind or anything like that. She's very much a woman who's in the job of king, but I do think it does an interesting thing in terms of challenging our ideas around gender, because sometimes I do think there's this idea of what roles you can and cannot do as a woman. And so I do think that's kind of a cool thing to see this woman be king, but it was not supposed to be a political thing at all. And then everyone just started calling her King Valkyrie, so she's the queen.
How was the physical training you went through for this role of Valkyrie?
This movie was a little harder than the last one, honestly, because on Thor Ragnarok, I had never trained this hard for a movie before. I'd never done anything so physical. I didn't grow up playing sports at all in school. I'm not a super physical person. So I had to learn all of the stunts and the fight training. I was in pain so much when we were making Thor Ragnarok, really just like in pain all the time. Even though I was getting stronger, I was in pain. And learning the sword work, which was really difficult. So this time around, at least I had that experience, but also I was coming out of, the most intense time in the pandemic. And I don't know about any of you, but I was on my couch. I mean, I was not one of those people that dealt with the pandemic and all of the stress by exercising. I was just eating. All I did was eat. All I did was cook and eat again, like the whole pandemic. So then when I had to, then finally when we were going to make the movie, I had to work doubly hard to get back into shape. And literally I left just being with my family, going to Australia, and I hadn't really seen that many people. I hadn't even been out of sweatpants, and suddenly we were making this movie. So this time around it was a little harder, to be honest, but I was so grateful for the experience. It really shook me out of this pandemic funk that I was in, really reminded me of how much I love being physical that way, of challenging myself. And also I think getting into the spirit of Valkyrie really always starts with the physicality, because she was a trained soldier for thousands of years in the battlefield. So much about her energy comes from the physicality. So it sort of starts there. The work starts there.
Tessa, this film has a lot of scenarios. I want to know which scenes are more excited for the people to see.
Oh, that's such a good question. Without spoiling too much, I think that our film does a really cool thing of sometimes taking some scenes that happen in the past, like to tell the story of what's happening in the future. And I think that some of those sequences in the film are very unique in terms of the filmmaking. I haven't seen that kind of filmmaking in MCU movie, but also it means that you get to see the characters, like especially Thor and Jane. You get to see some of moments of their love and romance in ways that feel very, very relatable and very human, and also very unexpected in the Marvel movies. And then also I just loved the scenes that one scene in particular, again, without spoiling things for audiences, but there's a scene, it's a little bit in the trailer, so you see it, but a scene between Valkyrie and mighty Thor. And I just really love that scene. Natalie and I are really good friends, so it's so fun to get to play that scene. And we played it so many different ways. I mean, it's very Taika. You do a scene and you do it like 25 different ways, sometimes very funny, and you go all over the place, and you never know what's going to end up making it in the movie. But the scene that exists in the movie, there's some moments in it that I thought we were just doing for fun for us, but then they are in the movie. Improvisation and really silly things. So I'm really excited for audiences to see that.
Thank you.